some spinach. But don't try to be a Popeye. He said, do not become an habitual spinach eater. Every now and then. Eat rutabaga. A little every now and then. But you may eat as much garlic and onion as you like. Garlic and onion. I mean, I know what you're thinking. See, them other foods give you a lot of kissing breath, aiding you to death. You eat a lot of garlic and onions, ain't too many want to get close. Keep you safe, honey. Garlic is a blood purifier, isn't it? It is a nerve strengthener. Onions the same. The very fiber in the onion is like the fiber that the nerve itself is made from. So onion and garlic, as much of it as you want to eat. Now look, brothers, for God's sake. No, I used to do this sometimes, you know, just take a clove of garlic, put it in my mouth. Nobody would get near me, you know what I mean, for a long time. Now they have garlic today in capsule where it doesn't offend until you belch. Now, how many of you like sweet potatoes? Yeah, I used to like sweet potato too, but listen, you want to know how to eat to live? Leave the sweet potato alone. Why? The sweet potato is very hard on your digestive system. It takes days to digest a sweet potato. Now, if you just like the taste of the sweet potato, you can take a carrot and you can make the carrot taste exactly like a sweet potato. And it's better for you. Now, this may sound strange, I'm telling you, but if you practice how to eat to live, I'm telling you, in 30 days, you will look better. You will feel better. You will act better. Just a few more. He said, no sweet potatoes and no white potatoes. Sweet potatoes were never good for any human to eat. They are good for hogs, but not for you. White Irish potatoes are a food for people who live in frigid zones, a staple food for such as Europe, Northern America, and Canada. But potatoes and rice are too starchy for you and me. They laden us with too much starch and fat, which are friends of diabetes. You want to get diabetes? Keep getting on that starch and that fat. Well, Brother Farrakhan, do you eat rice? Every day. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us how to cook the rice, where you brown it in a pan. When you brown it, you take that starch out of it by browning it. Then they boil it. Then when you eat that bad boy, it's okay. You got to start with a long grain brown rice. That's in a class, brothers and sisters, when you learn how to prepare your foods. This stir-fried madness. Nothing fried. Fried food is death. Sorry about that. Fried chicken, even baked chicken. Anything that makes the surface rough and hard is not good for you. The fried food sending you away from here, clogging up your veins and arteries with fat. And as you get older, the sludge that you find in your motor You ever notice how after you don't clean that bad boy out, the sludge deposits in your motor, so you have to have a whole complete motor overhaul. Is that right? Well, that's what happens to your veins. All the deposits of fat and debris line your arteries and your veins, so the blood only has a little hole to go through. Then the heart got to pump harder and harder to squeeze the blood through this fat. So you overwork the heart. All of this due to improper eating of too many fried foods. I know you don't like this. Sweet potatoes are full of gas. Oh, Lord. Look, let me close this book.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. I was laughing at Pat's face the whole time, but we're going to get in it. Breakdown Friday. This is how we do it today. We are covering the topic of health and health within the Black community. Just had the clip of Minister Farrakhan talking about concepts of health as far as things we should eat and things we shouldn't eat. That's based off the ideas given to us by Elijah Muhammad in his book Eat to Live. So the framework of this conversation is Black health. What are we eating? What are we not eating? Are we exercising? What are we doing to our body, and what are we putting in our body? Analyzing all of that, because we have the highest health disparities in the country. So we need to talk about our health, one of the 9 areas of human activity. So we need to talk about it. We're going to talk about what's going on, then we're going to get into the solutions. So, Pat, your face is looking like that. Let's go ahead and tell us what's on your mind. Because your face is like that for about 3 minutes.
Well, I agree with him that we should be students of what we eat, right?
Mhm.
And we should learn as much as we can about what we eat and how our digestive system works. And we should make sure that we are well researched on those two subjects. Even if you're not like somebody that's big into fitness or anything like that, like this is serious. You should take a serious interest in what you eat and what it does to your body. So I agree with him on that. And I'm trying to stay positive.
You basically you disagree on some of the things he's saying to eat and not eat.
Well, all right, so here it is, right?
Go ahead.
So rice. We'll start there. Brown rice and white rice are two different things. Browning the rice in the pan, browning white rice in the pan does not make it brown rice. It doesn't give it the same, nutritional value as brown rice. Now, you could brown it in that pan, and in that pan also have a bunch of other nutrients and things in that pan that could then coat the rice. But then the issue you run into is when you boil the rice, when you add water to it, all of the nutrients shift to the water. And you're left once again with white rice. So if we're talking about and I'm bringing this up because I've heard people talk a lot about the Maillard reaction, I believe is what it's called. When you brown food, the chemical reaction that occurs between the heat that's exchanged and the food that's in contact with the heat that causes food to brown. And a lot of people think that if you brown the food, you're making it healthy, and that's just not an accurate thing to say. Then there's the idea that you can somehow remove the starch from rice.
Right, that's what he was talking about. And the browning process, the browning and boiling process would remove the starch.
Rice is starch. You can't remove. That's like saying If you boil the rice long enough, you remove the rice from the rice. You got the bran and you got the germ. The bran is the brown part that has all the nutrients. They cut that off and you get white rice. But rice it is a starch. That's like saying if you put a white person in the oven, they become black. A black person. That's just not, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Y'all might correct me, but to my knowledge, you can't make a starch not be a starch because you made it a different color. So there's that. Then there's the statement about sweet potatoes being,
Yeah, that was the first time your face crunched up.
well,
I,
because
I
right,
like
so
sweet
here,
potatoes.
right, I don't
I
have a
ain't gonna
problem
lie.
with people that don't want to eat sweet potatoes. That's cool. I don't have no beef with that. But sweet potatoes are not hard on your stomach. They're not hard on your digestive system. Now we can argue back and forth about the nutritional value of the sweet potato, and that's not even an argument I'm like trying to engage in. If you don't want to eat sweet potatoes, don't eat sweet potatoes. There are tons of other healthy options, healthier options out there available to you than the sweet potato. I'm by no means standing on the square of saying sweet potatoes are a necessary staple in anybody's diet. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, when you start spitting out information that is inaccurate, you lead us to a place where now you're being counterproductive to progress. And that's where my face was twisting. Do I agree with a lot of what he, like, when he talked about the onions and the garlic um being blood purifiers? That's accurate. They do detoxify the blood. They have a lot of other health benefits. It's also accurate that if you consume a lot of onions and garlic, people ain't gonna want to be around you. I know that. My
What?
wife used to love garlic, and and
What?
and and, and that was a discussion.
Well, I think also what you're getting at too is philosophies, because
Yes,
every time I hear him, because I watched this maybe 3 or 4 times, so every time I hear him get to the garlic piece, I think about the video I saw of Dr. Sabi saying you shouldn't eat garlic, and so that's a difference of philosophy that it goes there. But the first thing you said is people should do their research
absolutely.
on the information that they gather. Um, I'm not one to tell people overall what your diet should be. Like you just said, we're not here to tell you what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. That's not what we're here to tell you. But what we are here to talk about is foods that are healthy and foods that are unhealthy, and diets that are healthy. Diets, well, not even getting into diets, just the foods and
Food,
lifestyles that are
eating
healthy versus
habits,
lifestyle. Yeah,
lifestyles.
eating
Yeah.
habits, lifestyles, and things. So that's where you know I kind of, what, that's funny too, because I know you technical Ted, so I kind of be when I see nigga, I like Pat gonna say
Well,
something.
I was trying because I'm trying, right. Like my thing with health, like, because we all have
Keep doing
different
it though.
views. We
Keep
all
doing
have
that
different
shit though.
views on health. My thing is that there's only one understanding of the way the body works, because the body works. Now we all process things differently, but the mechanisms and the machinations that the body uses to process things is the same for all of us. So we
Mhm.
should, so if we're going to have debates about um so we can't have debates about the way the digestive system works, because that's an objective fact. Like there's no
Right,
debate about that. We know
right.
how the shit works. So when I hear people giving philosophical advice on eating based off fallacies and understanding on how the digestive system works, that's where I start to go into, okay, let's address it. This isn't to say that what you're saying to do isn't beneficial. It's just pointing out the fact that the processes you're saying make it beneficial. Those processes don't actually work like that. And that's where you run into an area where you have people now saying all of the crazy stuff they saying. Like, I don't want to get it because I feel like that's gonna take, but we know, we've all heard people saying crazy shit
Well,
about
well,
health and
okay,
diet.
okay. So context, people. when Pat is saying we've heard a lot of crazy stuff, he's not referring to Minister
No,
Farrakhan.
not
And
Farrakhan.
no,
Not Farrakhan.
I'm saying that because look, he's talking about conversations that we've had in the past years about a lot of the supposed health gurus who've come and gone. And when we say come and gone, we mean like their spark of their career come and gone, not necessarily they come and gone. We're not talking about Dr. Sabian, none. We're talking about others. So put that out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm in
But
so much trouble. I feel like.
no, I mean, man, you know,
Go,
I mean,
no, go
that's
ahead,
your role.
PC.
That's your
PC,
role.
save us. Save
My
me.
man, shout out to Philly Phil. Philly Phil be in the comments. That's why he call you Patrick, that wild boy, because everybody already know.
Well,
That was an interesting reaction, PC.
because everybody now, one thing I will do, I'll give them credit for trying to devise a way to get Black people to eat healthier. At the time that Elijah Muhammad came out, Black people were pretty much, hog mogs and all the plantation diet that especially in the South. And as we know, Chicago in particular was one of the cities that was populated by the upward migration of Black people who were chased out of the South. In states like Mississippi and Alabama and Texas. So, they brought their diets with them. And along with that came bad health. So you talk to, even and then Detroit, the Chicago, Detroit area, they was primarily from those regions. So I can understand that, and I appreciate anybody's attempt at trying to provide Black people with a blueprint for doing something better. That said, times have changed, and we've learned a lot more about the nutritional value of foods. We've learned a lot more about the effectiveness of certain foods versus the others. You actually learn because a lot of times I think when people think you wash the starch off, you wash the
husk.
Yeah, well, it's because it's a little floury, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the starch. You can rinse it,
Mm-hmm.
But you
Right.
can't get rid of the starch. You can get rid of some byproduct starch, but you can't necessarily get rid of all the starch. But I think it's what's most important is that we find a best practice that actually works to help us because we do. I mean, if you look at Black people in America right now, we're an obese people. There are times that I struggle with the weight, but thankfully I lost about 80 pounds over the last year and a half or so. Strictly by eating better, working out, and movement. You know what I'm saying? So, but a lot of people don't understand what diet is, and the fact that even now we have to recalibrate this because food is not produced with the same nutrients that was in it just 50 years ago. I mean, when you think about the big plates and dinners, family dinners, we ate real healthy plates every night as children and didn't gain too much weight because there was nutrients in the food. Nowadays, a lot of food is generated, but the ground that it even comes in is not nutrient. It's nutrient deficient. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same ground over and over and over again. And eventually you won't have any nutrients in that plot. So we have to redevelop a way to address this matter. And it's important that we do because a lot of people are replacing their diet with supplements, supplemental vitamins, supplemental minerals, which are good, but it doesn't replace the natural absorption that comes from eating something that was grown in the earth, or eating, even if you want to talk about meat, from cows that actually ate grass instead of cardboard boxes and whatever else they're throwing into, the mix for them to eat these days.
Yeah, and because PC brings up a good point about the food we eat, right? Like the nutrients in the meat we eat comes from the things that animal ate. It's the circle of life is a real thing, and that is something that amazes me. When you hear people talking about how it don't matter what the cow ate, it don't matter what the pig ate.
You are what you eat. That means everything.
Right. And it's like, no, the cows that are grass fed have better nutritional value in their meat because they're eating things that came from fertile ground. You know, and not only that, but then there's the whole fourth stomach thing and the bacteria. But you get into that, but it goes back into what the cow was able to consume creates the nutrients that are stored in the muscle fibers, which is what we eat. So I think that's important. He brought up another good point about the active lifestyles. I think a lot of Black people need to understand, one, back in the day, right? A lot of us grew up really only eating 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner. You know, and if you had that raggedy ass lunch at school, that was whatever. But a lot of us really only, oh my bad, Joe. But a lot of us really only ate 2 meals a day, and then we were extremely active. Like you spent all day outside playing, doing something, or whatever. Nowadays, we spend most of our time sitting down, and we're eating 4 and 5 times a day.
See, that's where I was gonna go with this because overall, this the way that Farrakhan is saying to eat, the way Dr. Say, we've all said this, we've said this to each other multiple times. If you follow what Farrakhan say, or Elijah Muhammad, follow what he says, follow what Dr. Sabi say, you follow what Yada say, some Dr. Layla OF, you follow and some of the others. But the ones who the diets that at least make sense, following them. The worst thing that's gonna happen to you is you get healthier. That's the worst thing that's gonna happen to you, that you get healthier. Now, that doesn't excuse critical thinking. That doesn't excuse you doing your own research to make sure that you're putting the things in your body that work best for you.